Being honest with your emotion is honoring what is flowing through you. It is honoring your experience in that moment. It's honoring your experience that led to that moment, the wisdom that's behind it, the lessons learned that come from it. It's honoring that. Honesty is honoring. Honesty and emotion is honoring you.
Here we grow again, our hearts on the mend. What I want is what I want, soft spaces.
Hey there, and welcome to Softspaces podcast, where I share a little bit of me to connect with a little bit of you so that we can create a community of wholeness together using our unmuted voices to thrive in every area of our lives. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. No, for real. When I say that, I really mean I'm so glad that you are here entering into this soft, vulnerable, positive, powerful, transforming space with me together. Today, I'm talking about something that is so common. You probably have been in this space before where you get into a conversation. Maybe it's an elevated conversation. You're having this elevated conversation and you either don't get a chance to say all that you said because you left the conversation like, oh yeah, I really wanted to say this. Or you went into the conversation not only giving them a piece of your mind, but you gave them everything that's ever happened to you, all of that mind as well. You meant what you said. You said what you said. You ever been in a position where you said what you said? That's what we're talking about today. How we can change I said what I said to transformational, positive conversation and dialogue that promotes growth in relationships. It doesn't matter the relationship. It doesn't matter the dynamic, just relationships, period. If you want to grow from where you are to where you want to be because you said what you meant you said and not what you thought about later that you wish you said, and you come back to the conversation and it creates chaos. Not that. Going into a conversation, being very sure about the power and the energy of the words that you're using. The goal here is to understand the power your words have when they leave your mouth. I want you to really grasp the power that your words have when they leave your mouth. And before they leave your mouth, they come from your mind. And before they come from your mind, they come from your heart. And whatever is in your heart and your spirit, whatever's in there, that is what flows out of or into your mind and out of your mouth in any given situation. So let's play this out in real time. You know how I like. By now, you've watched enough episodes. And if you haven't, get hip. But you've watched enough episodes to understand that we're going to break it down how it plays out in real time. I remember being in a relationship with a girlfriend of mine. And in that relationship, we were having words, honey. We were going back and forth, all the words. We said all the words. I think the intention of that dialogue was to begin in positivity, to really rest in a space that owned wanting something good out of the dialogue. In the conversation, I remember going through my mind on how I could say something that would not just get my point across, but help her to feel how I felt in the moment. Instead of saying, I feel this or that, I wanted to project that feeling on her so she got it. That was the way that I thought she would understand me better is if I made sure to use words or examples that she could feel in a hurtful way what I was saying. And it wasn't just me. We did this to each other in the dialogue. We both went at the dialogue and approached the dialogue in the respect of, I want to make sure that they feel what I'm saying, not the defending what I really meant and all this. I want to make sure she feels how I feel so she gets me. At the end of the day, when I look back and reflect on this dialogue, on this exchange, I want it to be got. I want it to be held. I want it to be understood. I want it to be heard. And I didn't know how to just say that. And the reason I didn't know how to just say that was because I had not practiced that level of dialogue internally. So when it came to this moment of having a conversation, I had nothing to draw from outside of the pain and the hurt that I was already carrying, that I already felt in so many different ways from so many different stuff that was triggering this moment of reaction, not response, to the conversation. In the end, of course, we made peace, but it wasn't without the work of learning how to protect that peace. And sometimes we go into a mode of protecting peace without purpose. So we're protecting peace for the sake of covering ourselves and covering our flaws and covering our wrongs and covering our hurt, because we don't want that to come out. Because if that comes out, then we actually have to own up to or explain or give space for receiving comfort, or give space for receiving an apology that you don't even really want, because you want to make sure that you say what you said. And so I want to give you a couple of ways that you can look at conversation going forward so that you can be sure to express how you feel, totally unmuted. Totally unmuted. I want you to express how you feel, but in the context of being able to be honest with that feeling and with that emotion. Being honest with your emotion is honoring what is flowing through you. It is honoring your experience in that moment. It's honoring your experience that led to that moment, the wisdom that's behind it, the lessons learned that come from it. It's honoring that. Honesty is honoring. Honesty and emotion is honoring you and your life experience. It's not something to neglect or ignore. So when we're looking to honor that experience, we're looking to pay attention to the words that are coming out of our mouth, and know that the words that are coming out of our mouth have energy. The tone in which you speak has energy. The pace in which you speak has energy. It delivers energy. And if you're in a sensitive conversation, not sensitive as in someone else is weak, but there's a lot of dynamics at play. There's a lot of history involved in this dialogue. When that happens, you want to be intentional about the choice of words that you use, knowing that they have energy and power, and also the tone and the choice of words that you use. For example, if I say, girl, please, and then I also say, girl, please, the energy that is sent in girl, please, and girl, please is two totally different intentions. It carries two totally different energies. And so the person on the other side is now warned or flagged by the way that I say what I want to say. Like I said it, and then can prepare to respond accordingly. So in the first example of girl please, on the other side of that, that would let me know they may not be really hearing me because they are focused on the person who said the girl please, the first one. They are focused on making sure that they feel heard. So they're shushing away how I feel because they don't feel heard. You've got to interpret all of that from girl please instead of getting to a place where you say, you know what? I feel XYZ, fill in the blank. I feel. So knowing your words have energy when you send them out. And in addition to that energy, knowing that they are a command. We are designed to command our trajectory. So when you look at your life and you look at the things you've said up until now, I would put my last dollar on the fact that you are living exactly what you said. So if you said, oh my gosh, I hate Mondays. Guess what? Every Monday is a hard day for you. If you say, oh my goodness, I hate when this happens, or I wish I had something or other. What happens when you put that energy, that command out there, the way that I believe God has designed the power that resides in us in this dimension is so that we could command it. So it goes then and prepares that. So the words that you spoke yesterday is today's command. It's already ahead of you, which is why it's so important that we have intentional communication when we speak, so that the world we are creating is the world we want to live in. The world we want to live in. The words that we speak in relationship builds the relationship we want to have. So recognizing the power and the energy, the literal vibration. Did you know that when we say, oh, I catch a vibe, I feel a vibe, when you're in contact with someone, you just, you feel a vibe, like you feel their energy, their presence. That is a literal scientific thing. Our nervous system is designed to vibrate, literally like up, down, based on energy that is in motion. Energy, which is emotion. Emotion is energy in motion, right? Energy in motion. We can feel other people's emotion. We can feel other people's thoughts based on the vibration that they put out. So that vibe that you're carrying is from their nervous system. Their nervous system is communicating to you, to your nervous system. How powerful is that level of communication where our bodies can communicate before our words even say anything? Anything. So by the time it comes out of your mouth, it either is going to align with what your nervous system is saying, or it's not going to align. And either way, that can be felt. Powerful. So I want to make sure that you understand there is energy, there is power in the words that you choose to use. I want you to also understand that the words that you choose to use are a command into your future, into your present. Every single word, which is why we want to be so careful to not say we hate Mondays. Stop hating Mondays. Mondays are not bad. Mondays are great. They're a great way to kick off your week. That's the story you need to tell yourself. Which brings me to my second point. So first point, we want to understand the energy around the words that we use and know that they command our trajectory. They command our future. And that is by design the power that we hold as human beings here in this dimension. The second thing I want to make sure that you are grasping is the importance of how you talk to yourself. That is where we practice all of our communication, how we speak internally. I'll give you an example. Right before I had a pretty major surgery, you can learn more about that in my book, Saying Yes to You. But right before that major surgery, I went through therapy. I did some therapy. And in the therapy, the therapist had me do an exercise because she recognized my self-talk. And in the exercise, she prescribed that I would, in moments of heightened emotion, before I respond, get my pen, journal, or even on my phone, document how I'm feeling that moment. Talk to myself, like how I would talk to myself. And don't think about it. Just go. Just let that emotion flow right through your fingers and go. And at the end of that exercise, I did this for a week. At the end of that exercise, I read back some things that were vicious to myself. It was a very hard realization of how I talk to myself and how I spoke to myself prior to that moment was incredibly hard. It was so mean. It was so crude. It was so forthcoming. It had no filter. And while in theory, having no filter is good, it's not intentional communication. It's like diarrhea of the mouth. And if you have diarrhea of the mouth for negative talk, you are tearing down not only yourself, but every relationship that you experience, because what flows from you in a moment of heated, elevated conversation is those mean things. How you talk to others is a reflection of how you talk to you. So let me ask you, how are you talking to you? When you think about moments of elevated conversation with others, do you recognize the similarity in how you talk to yourself? You will find that there's direct correlation in the tone, in the tenor, in the pace that you speak to others. It's how you talk to you. A practice of shifting conversation from diarrhea of the mouth to intentional, powerful, transformational, soft conversation that changes dynamics and that shifts energy and that moves relationships and moves moments forward is to practice talking to yourself and to practice owning how you feel, which is my third point. Owning how you feel is reflective of the language that we use. So I've mentioned before in other episodes, emotion is the language of the body, but our words are the language of what's really going on inside. The language that we use is connected to what's really sitting below the surface. So if someone you're in dialogue with is harsh, they are mean, they are hidden below the belt, they're pulling out the daggers and the stingers coming forward, that's how it's a reflection of how they talk to themselves, of course. It's a reflection of all their previous experiences, of course. But it's also a reflection of what is sitting below the surface. So the way we circumvent that moment is to say, I feel, instead of you always do this and that and this and that. There's never any always. There's never any always. From a statistical standpoint, there's never 100% of anything. It's always 99.99999, right? Because there's never an absolute in that way. No one can ever absolutely be one way or the other. That's what makes us beautiful as human beings. So when you're in dialogue, to say you always this and that is not moving the conversation forward. But to say, I feel, when this happens, I feel this. And allow the dialogue to grow from there. If you're in a soft space, that dialogue, the other person in that dialogue will be able to see, you know what? They're giving me a piece of them in a way that is trying to move the conversation forward. I'm going to join in that soft space and express how I feel about said things. Now, this is not a combative moment. It is a listening moment. It is a listening moment, not with words, and finding ways of how you can attack them so that they feel how you feel and all of that bad stuff that I shared that I have done in the past. This moment is about exchanging softness. So practice that. This week, I want you to practice exchanging softness by owning how you feel in elevated conversations and practicing talking to yourself so that what comes out of your mouth is powerful, is transformative, and moves everything that you are engaged in forward. You can do that through journaling. You can do that through the exercise like my therapist gave, and just be aware and review afterwards. Give yourself a week and review afterwards. And then, of course, you can always breathe. As we shift into the close of this podcast episode, we enter into a space that is soft with breath. And in that breath, we practice taking 2 deep breaths in and out. And when you take the exhale of that breath and you're releasing, your body might want to make a sound. And if it does, let it. It's okay. It's okay for your body to release what is inside in a breath capacity. If you are driving, of course, please do not close your eyes. Just think and practice the breath with us in thought. And if you find that you want to explore more breathing after the episode is closed, please feel free to do so. Keep breathing, keep releasing, and keep finding soft spaces in every area of your life. But for now, I want to invite you in to softness. I want to invite you in to the soft space of thinking about our conversations, our inner dialogue, our outer dialogue, in every facet of relationship that we have with ourselves and others. And as we think about that level of conversation and that level of communication, I want you to think about also the ways that you can breathe into practicing owning the moment of your feelings, owning and honoring that experience. Welcome to the soft space. Let's begin. Let's take a deep breath in. One more breath. And exhale. Deep breath in. One more breath. And exhale. I want to thank you for joining the soft space with me. I hope that your week is amazingly, superly blessed. And I'll see you next episode. Take care and God bless.